Overseas Aid has funded the hospital for almost 35 years. The CEO, Joe Knight, joins us now from Sydney. Joe, good morning to you. We've all seen those pictures. It's simply shocking. What were your thoughts when you first realised that the hospital had been bombed?
Yeah, look, the hospital received an attack over the weekend and sustained some damage, but it was just devastating news to wake up to that. We are a, community not-for-profit here in Australia, and to see your partner of so many decades, on the news headlines and the world news, and trying to get updates on just what's happened is devastating. It's a horrific loss of life. People had gathered in the courtyard, the garden, chapel area for sanctuary. Operations were taking place. The wounded were being treated as this strike took place, and it is just a terrible loss of life.
You've partnered with the hospital since 1988. What can you tell us about your staff who are there, who are remaining? Are you still concerned about the whereabouts of some of the people that you've been working with?
Yes, look, this hospital, it's actually the oldest in Gaza, going back to 1882, and the Anglican diocese in Jerusalem operates the hospital. So the updates that we are getting is that we think that most of the staff are safe, but it is still a developing situation of just exactly who has found safety where they are. Certainly people are continuing to treat where possible, or there was large numbers of people that were able to be taken to other medical facilities. So it is a bit of a case of trying to find out what's happening. Certainly thousands of people, up to 5,000 people from what we understand, had been sheltering in the past days in the hospital compound. That had changed where thousands had moved south, but depending on what strikes were happening, more were coming into the sanctuary near the chapel, the courtyard area, both for treatment and for sanctuary, a safe haven.
Joe, I know you've been on the phone through the night trying to get more information to your colleagues over there. Have you been able to speak or have communications with people who were actually there at the time, and what did they tell you?
No, communications through to people actually in Gaza who themselves are seeking safety has been very difficult. The diocese in Jerusalem has been sharing what they know, and the Anglican community around the world is very connected because many of us have partnered with this not-for-profit hospital, ordinary Australians. Our Australian government has contributed to the breast cancer work over the years that we have partnered with, as has other governments, German and others around the world. So this is a well-known mid-size hospital that without discrimination is caring for the needs of people in Gaza over a long period.
Joe, just finally, the Anglican Overseas Aid, of which your CEO is one of 77 civil society groups that are today putting out a statement calling for Australia to demand an immediate ceasefire and the end of targeting of civilians in Gaza. Do you agree with supporters of Israel who say that it has a right to defend itself here?
All loss of life is terrible, and as a person of faith, I believe that we are all made in the image of God. So we call for all conflict to cease, and that the humanitarian pause to take place. What we are seeing in both Israel and Palestinian territories is a loss of civilian life, and all warring sides under international humanitarian law are called to protect places of where civilians are gathered and medical facilities, and this is just so apparent in Gaza.
Sure.
It is so crowded, and the situation is dire.
Joe, I hope you get some good news about your staff members. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
There, have a